Security, go home early.
Charlotte Flair is back. Well, in the Rumble anyway.
And Saturday night's main event predictions. That'll probably be about 2 minutes. Hello, welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
I'm Sally.
And we kick off with Joe Tessitore interviewing Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring. Joe asks Cody how he feels about having to hand over his title before his match with Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. Cody responds by saying he has no problem in handing his belt over, especially to the greatest WWE wrestler of all time, Shawn Michaels. The crowd boo when Rhodes asks them what they think about Kevin Owens before adding that KO is a hell of an athlete, but will always choose the easy way out. Joe asks Cody if he could look Owens in the eye, what his message would be. Rhodes, in a resolute voice, says, "Good luck." While we have your ear, why not subscribe? I mean, it's nothing for you, but it means everything to us.
Backstage, we see DIY chatting with Pretty Deadly. Prince asks what the game plan is when Gargano says he has a match later with Apollo Crews, so won't be able to get out there for PD's match against Motor City Machine Guns. Ciampa tells them to handle their business, with DIY then walking off. We follow Pretty Deadly, but their path gets blocked by Legado del Fantasma. No words are exchanged as PD then carry on.
We see Matthew McConaughey in the crowd before we have our first match of the night. Motor City Machine Guns versus Pretty Deadly. I did notice that the once beautifully clear blue SmackDown canvas has now been spoiled by a sponsor. The match went pretty much as expected, with Motor City starting well with the odd blind tag thrown in before we see a more aggressive version of Deadly, with them taking Sabin outside the ring and ramming him into the ring post before tossing him over the ring announcer's barrier. Back in the ring, Wilson attempts 4 covers, but only for 2, as the Yes Boys keep Sabin in their corner and away from Shelley.
A step up in Seguri to Wilson allows Sabin to get away though and make the tag, bringing in Shelley. Shelley takes on both Pretty Deadly members before sending them to the outside, where we then see Sabin dive to the outside, wiping both Kit and Elton out. Back in the ring, PD pull out a Bad Apple Gutbuster before Sabin is DDT'd and Shelley hit with an elevated bulldog. Prince covers, but only for 2. Motor City then roll out their usual moves, taking down Wilson between them before we see 2 big boots in the corner, skull and bones, and a cover by Shelley. Wilson can't kick out, with Motor City picking up the win.
Backstage we see The Miz talking with Nick Aldis, and Aldis has news for Miz. He's now part of SmackDown. Miz can't believe it, neither can I. Before I thought he was on an assignment. Anyway, he can't believe it before saying the Wyatts are here. Aldis says they are, before advising Miz to make some new friends and fast.
As Joe and Wade shoot the breeze, KO appears, slamming the Winged Eagle belt down on the announcer's table and asking Joe where his interview is. Owens claims everyone is kissing Cody's ass and then tells the crowd that he is the true, rightful WWE champion. Owen has a little tete-a-tete with McConaughey before Jimmy Uso heads out. Owens, now in the ring, asks for the terrible music to be cut before asking Jimmy why he's here. "Because you talk too damn much," comes the response before attacking the delusional KO. Jimmy sets up for a splash from the top rope, only for Owens to roll out the ring. Jimmy jumps down, grabs a mic and says, "Hold on there, Kevin Owens. Where you running to, boy?" Jimmy then wants Kevin Owens in a match later.
We head to a break, come back and find out that Owens Uso has been booked before we head to Aldis's office. Carmelo Hayes tells Aldis it was supposed to be him, no pun intended, facing off against Jimmy later. Aldis says he knows, but he has someone else in mind he can fight, and he'll be along in a moment.
Mm-hmm. Back to the ring now as Chelsea Green and Piper Niven take on B-Fab and Michin. Michin takes it to Niven before Green blind tags in and gets the upper hand on Michin with a snap suplex and cover for 1. B-Fab enters the fray, cleans Green's clock and then hits a DDT and covers for 2. but only because Niven came in and dropped an elbow, therefore breaking the pin. Fab is then blind tagged by Michin, who comes in and shotgun drop kicks Niven out the ring before reversing an unpretty her by Green and hitting Meet Defeat. Michin then covers Green for the win. Very short match, but lively and quite enjoyable.
That's why I don't mind that kind of thing. You don't have to be drawn out all the time. I haven't got a problem with that. Anyway, back in Aldis's office, and we find out who Carmelo Hayes will be facing. It's the Punisher himself, Damian Priest. Now, is it a visit or is it a permanent stay?
We then see another vignette from Charlotte Flair, who confirms that she'll be in the Women's Royal Rumble, which I think we all pretty much guessed anyway, let's be honest.
Surprise!
Looking a little different, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
As Tiffany Stratton heads out next, looking like she's caught some Texan sun or a bottle of fake tan, Joe Tessitore confirms that Damian Priest has indeed become part of SmackDown. Stratton says she's not worried in the slightest who wins the Royal Rumble and who she'll face at WrestleMania. Bit presumptuous there because she might lose the title at the Elimination Chamber. I mean, there's no matches booked, but
you never know.
You never know. When Rhea Ripley's music rings out and the two champions face off in the ring. Ripley respects what Stratton did to Jax, but that's not going to compare to what she's going to do to her at Saturday night's main event. They're then interrupted by Jax and LaRae. Jax says she's here to officially announce that she's entering the Royal Rumble and going to beat Rhea at Saturday night's main event. As Jax and LaRae enter the ring, the women's tag team champions head out, Naomi and Bianca Belair.
Naomi declares herself in the Royal Rumble, as does Belair, with them both saying they're both going to win.
Good luck with that.
As they enter the ring, more music plays out with Liv Morgan appearing with Raquel Rodriguez. Morgan runs down all the women in the ring before declaring herself in the Royal Rumble match.
Who'd think it?
She enters the ring, still talking smack, when Rhea drops her with a headbutt, with all hell then breaking loose. After a mass brawl, we see Nick Aldis head out and then cut to a break. We come back to find a 6-woman tag match had been made during the commercials of Nia Jax, Candice LeRae and Liv Morgan taking on Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair and Naomi.
Ripley overpowers LaRae before we see a triple team on Jax. Morgan then comes in and gets double teamed by the tag champs before being covered 4-2 by Belair. Jax blind tags Morgan, with Belair then clotheslined by Jax and whipped with her own hair. Jax then does a mini annihilator on Naomi by just dropping on her and getting a 2 count, with Jax then asking where medical is because she thinks she's dead. LaRae then comes in and continues the beatdown on Naomi before tagging in Morgan, who hits the Three Amigos on the Glow Star and covers for 2. Jax comes back in, stink-facing Naomi, and then tags LaRae back in. After seeming like an age, Naomi finally buys herself some time after hitting LaRae with an X-Factor and tagging in Ripley, with LaRae tagging in Morgan.
Ripley initially takes control but gets distracted by Rodriguez on the apron. This allows Liv to hit Rhea with a backcracker, with Rhea then fortunately rolling towards her side of the ring, tagging in Belair. Bianca goes for her tumbling moonsault pin, but Morgan gets her knees up, so decides to spear her instead. This connects with Belair then going for the cover. Jax breaks it up. Ripley then gets in the ring, drops Jax with a headbutt before riptiding Morgan on top of her. LaRae then dispatches Rhea out the ring, with Belair then KODing LaRae. As Belair surveys the damage, Morgan quickly rolls up Belair from behind and gets the 3 count.
Backstage, we see Michin telling Chelsea Green that she's spoken with Nick Aldis and he has given her another crack at the US title next week. Piper Niven says her and Green need a bigger security detail. So I'm assuming they'll be looking for more help from somebody, be it man or woman.
No idea. Yeah. Johnny Gargano out next, Tommaso Ciampa alongside for his match against Apollo Crews. Crews shows his strength and athletic prowess with a moonsault off the apron, but then succumbs to a super kick after a missed frog splash. Crews fights back with a gorilla press and standing moonsault into a cover for 2, with Gargano earning a 2 count cover after a backcracker. Gargano then sends Crews out the ring, and while the referee is talking with him, Ciampa hits Apollo with a knee and then sends him back into the ring for Gargano to finish off. Just then, the Motor City Machine Guns head out, which distract DIY, leading Gargano to come over to the ropes. As he does though, Crews from behind rolls him up and steals the victory.
Nice. Next, we see Jacob Fatu talking smack at the camera, which is aimed at Braun Strowman ahead of their match at Saturday night's main event. Alongside Fatu is Tama Tonga, who's up against LA Knight after the break.
After a night called Tama Tommy, we got underway and soon found ourselves outside the ring with Knight dropping Tama on the crowd barrier before sending him over onto it into the crowd. We get back in the ring after an 8 count and head back out where Tama plants Knight into the ring steps. Back inside the ropes, Tama takes his time with kicks, elbows and back rakes, even attacking Knight's eyeballs with the sole of his boot, according to Barrett. I mean, is that even possible?
Well, according to Wade, he's the man he knows.
Back from the break, we just glimpse a swinging neckbreaker from Knight for a 2 cover, before a dragon screw and knee to the gut from Tonga slows Knight right down. Knight, though, fights back, sending Tama crashing into the announcer's desk from the apron, but then falls to Tama's DDT when back in the ring, Tonga getting a 2 count from the follow-up cover. A slugfest then ensues on the turnbuckle with Knight coming out on top and dropping the elbow.
Knight looks for BFT, but Fatu gets on the apron with LA going after him and knocking him off. Tama takes advantage, or rather tries to, as he rolls up Knight from behind, but only for 2. As the 2 fighters get to their feet, Knight delivers a gut kick to Tama, followed by BFT. Knight goes for the cover and this time gets it, picking up the victory over the Samoan. After the match, the inevitable happens and Jacob Fatu attacks Knight, which in turn brings out Braun Strowman. The 2 behemoths enter the ring, building the tension. Fatu runs at Braun, but Braun dodges the impending attack and then clotheslines Fatu over the top rope. Jacob tries to get back in, but Tama holds him back.
Backstage, we see The Miz trying to recruit A-Town Down Under, talking about Marine 7 and saying they'll run SmackDown. Nick Aldis then pops up telling A-Town to pack their bags as they're going to Raw. Bye.
We get a vignette from Shadow Shinsuke next, who declares himself in the Royal Rumble.
Many declarings.
Well, they've got to get him in, haven't they? It's not far off.
Up next, Damian Priest versus Carmelo Hayes. Priest tempts Melo into a test of strength, which Hayes goes along with until their hands lock, with Melo kicking Priest in the gut. This tiny advantage leads to nothing as Priest crossbodies him from the rope and gets a 2 count cover. We end up outside the ring and on the announcer's table, which still will not break, before Hayes sends Priest and himself back into the ring. A springboard clothesline gets Hayes a 2 count, which is followed by mounted punches, a dive out the ring and a crossbody from the top rope, but all only for another 2. Priest then hulks up, levelling Hayes, hitting a broken arrow and then slamming him, covering for 2. Hayes escapes the ring, only to get barged over the timekeeper's area before being thrown back in the ring. A first 48 then gets Hayes a 2 count after he countered what appeared to be a South of Heaven setup from Priest, with Melo then going for nothing but net. Priest dodges the attack, downs Hayes with a clothesline, delivers South of Heaven and then covers Carmelo for the 1, 2, 3.
Backstage, we see Motor City Machine Guns telling DIY that they have a 2 out of 3 falls match against them at the Royal Rumble for the tag team titles.
We then see Michelle McCool and Mark Henry in the crowd before we head backstage to see Damian Priest come across Cody Rhodes. The 2 shake hands, with Rhodes then heading off. Priest tells the champ he'll see him soon.
We then catch up with The Miz, now trying to recruit Andrade. Andrade loves Miz's idea, but ends up telling him he'll go off to find someone. Clearly, he's not interested.
We then watch Jimmy make his way to the ring from backstage for his match against Kevin Owens. As he does though, he passes Carmelo Hayes, who says it'll take a lot more than 4 moves to beat KO. Jimmy responds by saying it'll only take him 3 moves to beat Hayes next week, before carrying on to Gorilla, through the curtains and down the rampway. As Jimmy heads towards the ring though, Hayes attacks him from behind, with the 2 then fighting on the rampway. Security managed to break them up, allowing Jimmy to continue to the ring, and us get to see the last match of the night. Kevin Owens versus Jimmy Uso.
Owens throws Jimmy around the ring while goading the crowd. Jimmy shoots out the corner though, clotheslining KO, with the 2 then fighting outside the ring. Jimmy bouncing Kevin's head off the announcer's table before sending him ring bound. As Jimmy mounts the apron, Owens knocks him off before frog splashing the downed Uso from the apron. Owens re-entering the ring and taking a bow. Jimmy finally gets back in the ring where KO targets his shoulders and arms, even going for a cover after a DDT, only for 2 though. Owens climbs to the top turnbuckle, swan-tonging Jimmy. Jimmy though gets his knees up and then hip attacks Owens, followed by kicks and a Samoan drop. Jimmy covers for 2.
A super kick gets Jimmy another 2 before KO Blue Thunder bombs the Uso for a likewise 2 count. The 2 then trade super kicks with Jimmy winning out and covering KO for 2. A missed splash by Jimmy is followed by a missed pop-up powerbomb by Owens, which leads to yet another super kick by Jimmy and yet another 2 count cover. I know we're in Sweet Chin Country, guys, but less of the music. Jimmy then spears Owens and looks for a splash from up above, but Owens pulls Jimmy down, throws him into the ring post, pop-up powerbombs him and then covers the Uso for the victory. After the match, Owen sets Jimmy up for the package power driver on the announcer's desk when Super Rhodes heads out for the save. KO and CR then go at it in the ring. Security clearly gone home for the night. They're nowhere to be seen as SmackDown goes off the air with Owens and Rhodes walloping the shit out of one another, setting us up nicely for their meeting at Saturday night's main event.
I mean, I'm not a fan of rating shows because you see other people rating them and somebody will say, oh, it's an 8, and other people will say it's a 3.
Yeah.
It's each to their own.
Exactly.
It's not poor, it's just a standard SmackDown, nothing wrong with it. What I wanted to say though is I think that the Women's Royal Rumble is more stacked than the men's.
Yeah.
Especially with
the stars, yeah.
Charlotte Flair coming back and possibly Becky Lynch. I'm not whether she is or not. I don't know, but there's rumours that she may.
Yeah.
I still feel that is more stacked than the men's with the big names that are in that. But you know, again, it's all down to opinions. That's fine. But anyway, this brings us nicely to our prediction for Saturday night's main event. We saw him pop it in at the end. We've not spoke about this. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Personally, they're going to keep the Jacob Fatu train going.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
they're not
fair
going
enough.
to. I mean, if he gets beat, it's like, oh.
Yeah. It would be a good match. I don't know if it'll have a clean end.
I was going to say that. I wonder if the ring will break as usual.
Ooh, yeah.
Can't
be
but
too
yeah,
early.
I'm going. Oh, yeah, I think Fatu, Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax.
Ripley.
Yeah, got
Easy.
behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, nice if Jax did win. I'm not a fan nor dislike her, or like it. It's just
I prefer Rhea as champ.
Oh yeah, she's a good champion.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Ripley.
I think
will win.
Bron Breakker defending his Intercontinental title against Sheamus.
Breaker.
Yeah, I can't see it being Sheamus's time. As much as it'd
that's
be
one
nice
of
for
the
him to
only belts,
finish his story.
It's one of the only belts he hasn't had. Get it, but
Yeah, Breakker. I mean, we ain't seen Breakker since
God,
it's been on Netflix. Is that right? I might be wrong.
He's been about, but no
not,
matches.
Not in the ring. And then
No.
Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sorry, Jey, you ain't getting
Easy,
that.
Jay. Yeah, Jay totally winning. Yeah.
What?
What?
Yeah.
I want him to, obviously,
yeah, it'd be nice,
but it'll be Gunther.
It will be Gunther. Anyway, any comments or views you'd like to share, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and we won't get back to you. No, we will do get
Definitely
back to
will,
you.
yeah.
Thank you again for watching.
And we'll see you Tuesday for Raw.